Hey everyone, it's Ethan Ormus back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. Today we're going to be talking about every movie and TV show that I watched last week, which was a pretty interesting week. Overall, a decent week. Perhaps some hot takes in this as well, which I'm excited for. So yeah, let's get right into it. Starting it off with my least favorite of the week, which was Brother Bear 2. Of course, I did mention that I watched Brother Bear 1, or the first one, I should say, last week. And I told you I didn't finish it and that I was going to this previous week. So yeah, obviously finished it. It was actually the first movie ranked of May. I ranked it a 48 out of 100, as you can see. Nothing too special. Definitely not as good as the first one. I think it's a big step down from the first one, to say the least. So, with that being said, let's then move on to The Emperor's New Groove, which I ranked a 73 out of 100. This was a childhood favorite of mine. I really enjoyed it still. 73, again, I quite enjoyed it. Well, let's keep moving on to Kronk's New Groove, a 69 out of 100. I enjoyed this one as well. I remembered this one much more. I think I grew up more with this one because it came out in 2005. I would have been like 4 years old at that point. So, yeah, very interesting to say the least. And oddly enough, the first three movies of the month are actually in order of how I ranked them. So let's keep going. Up next to a watch from last night, a first-time watch or since I started Letterboxd, but it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which I ranked a 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, a 77 out of 100. This was a childhood favorite of mine as well. Yeah, I thought it was still a pretty good movie, but the quality and CGI is sketchy at times, to say the least. So overall, an interesting one. I was kind of more leaning towards Charlie being a serial killer instead of turning into a good person that has daddy dentist issues, but whatever. Anyways, Count Dooku was in this movie, so that's a W. Well, let's keep going. Up next, we have Raymond and Ray, which I thought was a really great character study. A very interesting film. I really, really enjoyed. I ranked it an 83 out of 100. I've begun to really start enjoying Ethan Hawke, and of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi is always a win. So I really enjoyed this movie. Of course, it came out last year. Glad I watched it. And yeah, it was a great watch. I really, really enjoyed it. So with that being said, also an 83 out of 100, but I did like it a little bit more. Pearl, which was one of the movies I wanted to watch the most last year that I never got around to seeing in theaters and never got around to renting or anything. So finally watched it last week, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as X, but I am excited to see that trilogy, and I think it's going to be a great horror trilogy that I'm very, very excited for. So with that being said, let's keep moving on. Up next, another watch from last night, Luca, an 85 out of 100. I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed this film. I think this is a really great film. The animation was beautiful. It was really lovely. I loved the Italian throughout the movie as well. I thought that was very cool. Obviously, I don't know much about Italian culture, so it was cool, and I was learning alongside Luca, so that was pretty cool. Again, really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was a really unique and fun concept, and of course, a very underlying, not stories, topics that are important topics in today's society. As well. So really, really cool. Of course, Disney and Pixar love to do that. They throw those, those thoughts, those questions that provoke your, not way of life, but some beliefs, I guess, that you have. So really, really good. Really, really enjoyed it. Jack Dylan Grazer is awesome. He's fantastic. I love him in everything that he does. So that was really great as well. So let's keep going to The Fault in Our Stars, which was a recommendation from Daily that we watched together. An 86 out of 100 for myself. Grants itself that 4-star. And my God, this was heartbreaking. This movie fucking sucked. I cried like a bitch throughout most of this movie. It was so fucking sad. I thought the acting wasn't great at times, but then at other times it was fucking fantastic. And the I think the scene that hurt me the most was the eulogy from Hazel. Yeah, it was absolutely brutal. It destroyed me. It hurt so much. So, with that being said, we're now into the top 2 of the week. I didn't mention, but The Fault in Our Stars, of course, makes that top 3. But then up next, probably the hottest take that this isn't my favorite watch of last week, but we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, an 89 out of 100. I have a gripe with this movie, and it's the fact that people consider this movie to be top 3 Marvel and one of the best MCU movies, which I just don't agree. I really, really don't agree. I'm still quite stunned that people actually believe that, because I do not think... I don't even think it breaks my my top 15, so that's pretty insane. To be fair, and honestly, I know this is a hot take, but I think the trilogy gets worse from each movie. I think the second one's better than the third one. I only watched the third one once. Obviously, I've spent years with the first 2, but at one time, the second was my favorite, the first was my least favorite, and then that's since changed where the first is my favorite, the second is my second favorite, and the third is my least favorite. So I am going to rewatch all of them this week because I didn't do it last week. I wanted to, I just didn't get around to it. So I'm going to this week, and we'll talk about it more next week for sure. But really quickly, I do want to talk about what I wrote down. Obviously, you guys can see what I wrote down on my Letterboxd review. So again, I'm truly shocked that people have this in top 3 Marvel slash best MCU slash better than Infinity War. I can't wait for a rewatch to see if my ranking changes, because I hope I love it as much as everyone else does. I did cry a little bit, but not as much as I was expecting, and that hallway scene was absolutely fire. And I think Infinity War is still better. Like, it again, I don't even think this movie breaks my top 15 MCU, which is pretty insane. Still, an 89 out of 100 is still very great. It almost gets that 4.5 stars for myself. But yeah, overall, I just think it's slightly overrated. I feel like it's in a similar boat as No Way Home right now, where I think it's a little overhyped. But that's just my opinion personally. So again, I really think my viewing will benefit from seeing it a second time around, so we'll see what that looks like. But anyways, up next, my favorite thing of the week was Star Wars Visions Season 2. My god, I love Visions so much. I ranked that season a 92 out of 100. My favorite thing to watch from last week, and I absolutely, absolutely, absolutely loved it. So it was fantastic. I think every episode... 8 out of the 9 episodes were great. Maybe 7 out of 8 or 7 out of 9. Sorry, there was only really one that I didn't really care for. But again, 7 for sure were bangers. 8 I was on edge with, but there was one that I wasn't a big fan of. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was episode 3 or 4. I can't remember. Let me go look real quick before I'm just chatting shit about an episode that I actually enjoyed. Just let's be smart here. So yeah, for sure, there was one episode that I wasn't a big fan of, and that episode was... Let me go to season 2. That episode was I Am Your Mother, so yes, episode 4. It was the shortest episode, but it was, again, probably my least favorite episode. The other one that I wasn't a huge fan of was the Bandits of Golak, but the other ones were fantastic. I really, really enjoyed them. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on everything that I mentioned in this week's video, or this week's episode, I guess I should say. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.